Dah, sir.
Dah.
Belum.
Belum? Masya Allah. 10 orang
Lepas kas makan.
Oh, I see. Are you all staying dekat your home or are you with your family?
Staying
Family.
at home with family.
At home.
Apa yang I tanya ni?
Staying at home with
Are
family.
you staying outside with dengan near ITM or some of the student complain to me kata tak tahan lah duduk dekat rumah, you have to do a lot of things, and then some of them decided to be on their own, staying dekat rumah bujang in order for them to concentrate. So most of you dekat rumah lah ya. Okay, that's good. Meaning you are exposing to torture at home, being with the family. Some positive, yes, obviously, but you have to, during the lesson, you have to also concentrate to do your part to the home. Right. Morning everyone, yeah. So, apa kita? 28. I'm going to macam mana kita nak start? Can we appoint class rep? Is it possible for us to do that? In order for us to create a WhatsApp channel, in order for us to communicate with each other. I will be giving the materials, the course outline, everything lah, yeah, together with the what they call it, attendance and everything.
I have created a WhatsApp group, sir.
Oh yeah, really? Okay, good.
Just want
Yeah,
your number to add you into the group.
Oh, you want my number? Okay. Can you add 2 numbers? Siapa
Alright,
ni?
sir.
Yang tadi siapa? Aida. Okay. Aida, can you put in my number 019?
Okay, sir.
019-329.
Alright.
6291.
6291. Alright.
And then 010.
010.
400.
400.
2981.
2981.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I was out from the system. I don't know what happened.
Okay, sir. I have added your number.
Oh, okay.
In WhatsApp group. Alright.
Okay, thank you, Aida, for the adding. So I'm giving you the attendance for today.
Okay, sir.
So that is the attendance, and then what else? Let me see. Hmm. Okay, I already passed you the what do you call it? Our course outline, the syllabus, for you to have a look, and also the what do you call it? Our attendance. Boleh nampak tak attendance? Can you access the attendance? Seems that tak ada pun.
Sorry, sir. It needs
Sekejap,
your
saya tengah
permission.
try.
Pardon?
It needs your permission, sir.
Oh, ini my permission pula.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Kejap.
Right, sir.
How about now?
Okay, dah boleh, sir.
Boleh, sir.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Dah satu semester cuti ya. Tak tahu macam mana nak start. Alright, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Welcome to the class everyone. So rasanya ada 40 orang dah. So kita ada dua kelas, D and E. So insyaAllah roughly about 25 times 2 is 50 lah. So 39, okay, good for the first class punya attendance. I think some of you, some of your colleagues might want to enter the system, but hopefully everything is okay. I just want to ask you from the chat if you can respond. Is this the first time you guys seeing me, or you have been with me before in other subject?
It's my first time.
Your first time ada. Okay. First time.
You
I thought Gerald, are you?
Sir.
Gerald, are you here?
Yes, sir, yes.
Oh, I thought I saw your name before.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whatever it is, welcome to the class. Okay. A bit about myself. Since you all tanya ke? You all tanya pula. Since you all the first time. Okay, I'm a lecturer of law, obviously, right? I've been with UiTM for the last 16 years. Sekejap 16 years. I thought baru ke. Uh, I just actually last 2 years I completed my PhD. So that is one hell. But okay, I recommend everyone to pursue your PhD in order for you to learn more about yourself, and obviously knowing that you don't know anything is a very eye-opening. Some people, they thought that they know things, right? I obviously I did not went into PhD with the sufficient knowledge, but when I did that PhD, I then suddenly I realized that ilmu Allah ni dia terlampau besar. God's knowledge is too big for us to comprehend. When you are doing something so deep, so concentrated, then you start to realize that you don't know a lot of things. The area that I focus on is energy law, energy governance, to be exact. So I'm teaching a paper, energy law, which is offered this semester. The area that I did for my PhD was OTEC, the Ocean Governance for OTEC, Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion. What is that? Is to convert seawater or sea temperature differences to produce electricity. So I'm there with the Malaysian Japan Institute of Technology, UTM, to look into the legal perspective. So that is me in terms of my education. Ada sini. I did my master dekat UKM. Then my degree dengan UiTM. So if you look at this, senior lecturer law until today, I was a legal advisor. This one, legal advisor for UiTM Negeri Sembilan. But this one is my work experience in terms of company elsewhere other than UiTM. Senior executive with Auto Ventures Sdn Bhd. This is something got to do with automotive, yeah, products. So I was engaged in order to control the receivables and asset monitoring. That is with Auto Ventures. And then we have here, before that, I joined as the senior executive with Auto Industries Ventures Berhad. If you think the company is still existing, this is a proton vendor that we supply parts for protons, proton cars. I think, yeah, it's still around. So 1999 to 2002 for 3 years. Also, at that point, I was the purchasing, what do you call it, planning and control department. So that was with that company for 3 years. Then before that, I was with a telecommunication company, STW Sdn Bhd. The purpose is to collect money lah, to ensure that everything is moving, or the income receivable and so on is being maintained. Yeah. Next, before that, I was the credit control officer with Ericsson. That is 1 year, also doing the same thing, but more towards government liaison, to communicate with government personnel in order to get the outstanding. You know, government is late pay master, so you have to kejar the orang. So they engaged me to do that, and I started working. Actually, if I were to list down my work, it might be totaling to 20, 20 kinds of work. But this is more prominent or what they call it, more established. Pernah sapu sampah, pernah jual kuih, working with McDonald's and things like that. I was a legal clerk, while doing my law with UiTM. However, I started with the bank, which is BBMB Kewangan Berhad. I think the bank is no longer in existence. Bank Bumi in Batuas for roughly about 8 years. So that is my background in terms of my works exposure or experience. Then, as I already mentioned, my PhD with UTM, my master with UKM, and my degree with UiTM. So, if you look at UiTM list of students, I don't know, you will see that my name is the longest student, longest term student to finish up his what they call it, study. So don't be like me because I have commitments. Doing part-time study. So you are now doing full-time study. So hopefully everything should be smoother. Right. That is something about me. I'm married. I'm same age as your father, 55 years old. If I were to have kids, I think my kids' age is roughly your age. Ramai tak yang father umur saya 55? I've got another 5 years to.
My 54.
54, Iman. Yeah, so generally, my age is equivalent to your parents. Maybe some of you have younger parents, right? So that is about me, something about myself. Now, I think you don't want to know about myself. Gerald, you said sorry about something, entering early. Don't do that. I don't like people to say sorry because we are studying, right? So when we are studying, if you don't make any mistakes, don't ask for forgiveness. And then on top of that, don't try not to call me doctor, just call me sir saja, ya. So because knowledge dah tak ada kan, jadi macam tak worth juga pegang doktor kan. A doctor is just a mere license for you to do proper research. It's just like getting your license to drive. So once you got the license, it is now the ability for you to drive is, is allowed. So the same thing with doctor status, you are supposed to do your research because you have already a license of how to do research. So coming back, let's look at the paper. So rasanya semua ni biasa buat what they call it, you have previously done your what they call it, asasi about jurisprudence, something about jurisprudence.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, good. So taklah terkejut sangat. By right, yeah, I do agree that the paper must be introduced to you earlier on because I don't know, to me lah, yeah. Jadi macam tak fair pula because I'm teaching this paper, I would want to angkat this paper. But after 16 years of teaching and then after 3 years of struggling with PhD, then I start to realize that the foundation of everything must be strong. Yeah. In other words, if you are doing law without your ability to understand the reason for you to learn law and the various definition of law is something that is very shortcoming. It is a very it is a fundamental thing because you are now until part 5. You have gone through the process of study, which is actually you are being forced when you go to classes. You are bombarded with all those terminologies, statutes, cases, the knowledge of each particular law that you will be introduced to, right? By right, you should be able to, get the platform first. So jurisprudence in some renowned university, they are introduced early in the process. So you tak terkejut lah, meaning your foundation is very strong in order for you to understand each each particular area of law that was introduced to you. Never mind, even though benda tu dah dah lepas, right? Now mungkin the faculty wanted it to be under part 5 and 6 in order for you to recall and to compare and contrast with all the things that you have learned. In a way, it is good for you to learn or exposed to jurisprudence now because you have gained a lot of knowledge. 5 semesters is considered as a lot of knowledge, and you are able to be more aware of the principle of law. Okay, so you can easily cross reference into all the things that you have learned so far. Jurisprudence is actually, I would say, interesting paper. I don't know, some of you, some of the students might say that, no, we disagree. It is a dry paper, which, you are going to be thinking a lot. You are going to be asked to scrutinize things in order for you to really understand the meaning of law. Okay, it is not a straightforward thing. It is something that it will demand your thinking capabilities, and your analytical capabilities is going to be tested. Because once you have that understanding, inshallah, everything will be fine. Okay, so I'm here to assist your journey in order for you to gain that particular knowledge. For you to have that foundation. I'm here. I'm not declaring that I know everything. I might, seems not okay with certain information, meaning maybe I'm wrong at times. But the thing is, I was hoping that I'm able to assist you to gather that sufficient knowledge in order for you to proceed with part 6 and 7 and 8. So okay, let's start. Please, during my class, I was expecting everyone to contribute. It's a two-way communication, hopefully. I don't want it to be one-sided, where I'm the one that is talking. It's not fair, because you are paying for the for the internet access. You want to be able to join and to be able to discuss things. So stop me at any time. Don't worry about me getting agitated about you stopping me. My tempo is going to go off. Don't worry about that. Okay, it is about you. It's not about me. Okay, your knowledge is the most important thing. So by all means, at any time, please stop me. Stop me and ask question and clarify. If you disagree, please by all means do so. Okay, we can agree to disagree, and then you can ask me about things that is happening throughout the world in terms of jurisprudence or anything that I can give you information. If I can give you the answer, obviously I will say that I will look into it and then I'll give you the answer later. Or maybe because we are doing online, right? So we can easily go online in order for us to verify certain questions that you are asking or certain issues that you might have. Okay. Um, let's look at the syllabus. Boleh nampak semua? I'm moving to another window. So if anyone wants to join, let me know. Kadang-kadang I'm not hearing the what do you call it, the sound that asking people to come in. Now, if you look at this, you have a copy, right? So now you have a copy. For those who join the WhatsApp, ask your friends to repost just now the two documents. One is attendance and the other one is the syllabus. Attendance, which one? Attendance 36. It has 36 out of 44. There's a few did not sign in yet for your attendance here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Aiman Zaris. I have problem with the course registration. I haven't actually registered for this subject in your class, but then I have called HEA since the past 2 days. So and they told me to just enter your class.
Yeah,
first.
yeah, it's
So,
okay, it's okay.
Uh,
You can audit. That
okay.
is what you call auditing. You can audit the lecturer, the group. You know, we have like what? I think part 531. Kita 531 Tengok. Kod pernah lupa. So we have A until E. Oh, 5 groups. So there's another lecturer. I'm not sure which one. Is it Cik Nazim or Puan Azrina? Okay, so you can go into their classes, ask for their permission to look at the class. Actually, you want to audit, you want to look at the lecturer itself to determine whether you like that person or not. For you to register, it's okay. You have every rights to do that. Okay, I'm allowing anyone to come in and look and like buying things, right? You don't buy and forced to buy something without you being able to evaluate. So you evaluate. If you're not happy, you don't think that that person is not able to satisfy your journey of knowledge, then you can get someone else. Yeah. I did not. I was not able to do that before because yalah tak tahu what are the things that you are able to do. But over the years, then I start to realize, oh, I see, you have the right to do that. Okay, so Aiman, so please, it's okay. Don't worry about that.
Okay, sir. I actually wanted to say that my name is not in the attendance lah for the time being. So yeah, that's just.
Okay, good. My problem is I'm not able to listen to you. Kejap. Kejap Aiman. Ini dah habis dah. Okay, right. Yeah, it's okay for you to decide. Let us look at the paper. Okay, you'll be getting if you join another class, the same syllabus. This is jurisprudence 1, law 531. Actually, terbalik. 531 is juris 1, 511 is juris 2. I don't know why. If you look at this, the resource person for this paper is Cik Nazim, right? He is the what they call it, RP for this paper. So if you look at this, he is the one that is going to prepare the final, or for that matter, what they call it, the assessment. Okay, so if we have 3 lecturers teaching this paper, the resource person is the one that is coming out with the what do you call it, the assessment question, and also the final. So anticipate that. You have to know your lecturer in order for you to understand what type of question that that person favor, in order for you to prepare yourself. Okay.
Sir,
Yes. Yes.
there is one person waiting to be admitted.
Kejap kat mana tadi 44 oh tadi tolak saya 2, jadi 41 lah. Tak ada lah, tak ada for approval.
Oh ya ke sir? Sebab dia WhatsApp saya. Tak apa, nanti saya cakap dengan dia. Alright.
Kejap I think I'll do this. I think this one better kot bila dia nak masuk. So automatic Alright. Let's look at the course itself. Oh, tak cukup space lah. Boleh nampak tak guys? Sorry kecil but you can always open yours. If you look at the course of learning outcome, course learning outcome is the outcome that you are supposed to get by the end of the semester by going through all the 14 weeks punya face-to-face or interaction in whatever manner. You are supposed to get this outcome. And the outcome, students should be able to, number one, describe different theories and concept of law. So that is the most important thing about jurisprudence, is to understand the theories behind the meaning of law. Because law, if you ask anyone or everyone, they will have different interpretation. If they are normal people, then I have to say normal people. I mean, those people who are learning law, they have more knowledge on law, right? So if you ask any other people, they might have a conflicting statement. So whatever it is, you are supposed to get different theories and conception of law about what is jurisprudence. Second, you are to look at the you are able to explain the different theoretical aspect of law and relate relevance issues. So if you have a current issues, you are able to link that particular issue to the theories of law, which is jurisprudence. So you have that link. You are able to link a problem in our society today. Then you should be able to look at the perspective of jurisprudence, especially when it comes to legal issues. So whenever you have a legal issues, you can be able by the end of the semester to reflect the jurisprudential perspective of that particular issue. And the third one, you are not only able to link the knowledge to the jurisprudence or theories of law, you should also able to analyze the situation. Where here, if you look at law, we have some elements, that is whether the law is legitimate or not, whether it is valid or not, whether it is just or not, whether you owe the obligation to follow the law, whether the law contains element of morality or not. Okay, so can a person who have authority of law can force you to do something against your will? Those are the things that we will be able to do in order for us to say that we successfully completed our course, jurisprudence 1. So by the end of the course, obviously you are able to not only understand the theories behind that problem or legal issues, you are also able to what do you call it, to come to a conclusion whether that particular law or that particular issue of law is, contain whether it is valid or not, whether it is good or not, whether it is moral or not. You are able to do that. Prior to this, obviously, it is all about being able to put in your own thinking. So here, it is no longer your thinking; it is about the thinking or the understanding of legal philosophers. So jurists. So they are the one that came out with the discussion, because they were thinkers. They were thinkers, and they are thinkers. Some of them are also still living. They think about the law and try to relate the law and justify the law to the current environment. To the current environment. Say, for example, whether it is okay for you to eat somebody's flesh whenever there is no law, when there is, you are out in the open sea where there is no actually law, because open sea there is you have international law, but it's just a consensus of agreement of nations to implement. But other than that, no authority that can take action against you. That is why some of the what you call freight ataupun liners, they like what you call it, for Malaysia we have apa yang Malaysia punya tu, Star Cruise. If you look at Star Cruise, they go into international waters in order for them to engage or to open gambling. So gambling in Malaysia waters, it is not allowed, because our Malaysian waters, 3 nautical miles, is under the under the jurisdiction of law of Malaysia. But if you go international waters, then you might do certain other things that is not allowed under that country, right? So you should be able to ask the question. If, say, for example, you were to survive in the water, the only thing that is able for you to survive is by eating the flesh of your friends. So is it what is the position of law? Are you going to be punished? Is it proper for you to be punished? What is the standpoint from the perspective of law? Another situation is whether the government that took over the country is valid or not, whether the legitimacy of the government in terms of their overtaking the management of the country. Say, for example, whether our current government is valid or not, whether countries that have problems where we have coup, took the people who took over the government, whether they are valid or not. So we are not looking at whether the letters of the law is valid or not. We are looking at the foundation of the law itself. So as you know, the juries, obviously they are many, right? They are hundreds of them. We are going to concentrate only a few of them in order for us to understand their perspective. Okay, so having said that, you have to, I always say this to my student, always leave your belief. You just release your belief outside before coming to class, because if you were to do that, then it is I think it's getting it will be smoother, smooth. The transition of knowledge is going to be better, because you don't have your preconception, meaning you have your belief So for example, if you're a religious person, jurist is going to be a problematic paper, okay? Because we are questioning everything. Okay, this paper is trying to question everything. Other papers, you are being forced to swallow whatever that is being introduced by your lecturer. This paper is actually for you to start question everything. Okay, so you can start question your religion, yeah? Whether the religion is teaching correctly or not. We are not going to concentrate merely on that. There's one topic about Islamic jurisprudence that we are going to look into, and we want to question, yeah, what is the legal theories behind Islamic religion. Yeah? If you are a religious person, try to remove your belief, or you know, you put it somewhere uh, prior to enter the class. Otherwise, in your finals, there are students that I have seen unable to answer the paper well, because they have conflict of mind. Because whatever they have in their mind, it will conflict with the things that they wanted to put in writing. Okay? It goes against your nature. So if it going against your nature, chances are then you would you reject it. Once you reject, then you are going to be in problem. So try to open up. I'm not saying that you are to convert to other religion. It's just that for us to be able to question everything. Once we are able to question everything, then it makes us a better person, rather than just swallowing whatever things that is being said to us, just because that person or the law is the law. Okay? Just because the law is the law doesn't mean that the law is correct, right? Doesn't mean that the lecturer is giving you information about the law or the knowledge of law is correct. It is up to you to investigate, to analyze, to criticize, and to really understand. Okay, that is, I think, the base or the foundation of jurisprudence, for you to be able to be yourself. Yeah, to be yourself. Because if you look at the various interpretation of law, there are many, right? So you can have the right to choose which one do you want, because we are not the same. Okay, just because we are not the same, obviously every one of us have different opinion, and the same with jurists. Okay, they the one that think about the meaning of law, and they came out with their own ideas, yeah, their own interpretation. All we need to do is to look at each one of their ideas and to understand them, obviously look, understand, and able to rationalize, yeah, whether it is a good or it is not. Yeah, so there is no right and wrong answer in jurisprudence. Every answer is considered as acceptable, commendable. Yeah, it is something that you because it shows that you have a maturity of knowledge. Right, by the end of the semester, that is expected of you, right? In order for you to write your answer in terms of the exam. So if the answer is like biasa-biasa, yeah, so you did not manage to impress the lecturer to show that you understand the paper. Okay, so try your best in order for you to uh, accept, not accept, to evaluate, to realize the difference opinion that the jurists might have. So one, you are able to explain, describe and then explain. Okay. Explain and describe is slightly different, yeah. So not only that, you can differentiate, yeah. You can differentiate, and then you are to analyze. Okay. Any questions so far?
As for now, no, sir.
No, if you look at this course description, it is concerned about the eternal questions that surrounds the law. So why the law is like that? Why do we have to follow it? Why the law seems to be busybody with what we want to do? You know, what is the authority of the government to come up with this? Not government, with the what do you call it? With the parliament, yeah, in order for them to come out with a certain perspective of law. The most central being the nature of definition of law itself. Okay, once we are able to identify or understand the nature and definition of law, then it should be something of good for your basis. Yeah? The course is an introductory part that goes to Juris 2, yeah? Which the content, kita kalau tengok content dia ada natural law, positivism, anthropological and historical schools. So natural law is something got to do with history, yeah? Or nature, meaning something that is universal in nature. That is natural law, meaning what is natural law? Killing is wrong, no matter whether there is a law that has been created for act that is against killing someone. Yeah, killing someone is everywhere in the world is the same. Nobody is to say that killing is good. Okay, no one is able to justify their interpretation in terms of having a law that is able to kill someone without justification. We do have act of killing. The government did kill many people, thousands of them. I think hundreds of them per year. We sentence them to death. It is actually killing, but those killings are legally. They have a legal foundation, or they have this legal basis. Yeah? So killing is wrong universally. Tak kira 1,000 years or 3,000 years or 5,000 years from now, anywhere in the world. So killing is still wrong. I think if you were to be in mass, say for example next 5 years, killing is also wrong there. Yeah, in other universe. Yeah. So natural law, and then we look at another group, positivism, a group that says every law is whatever the letters of law. Law is law, right? If I say A, and then it is A. You don't have any avenues for you to say otherwise. Yeah. So that is what we can say. Look at positivism. So there is no ability for us to argue, because you have surrendered, so-called, you have surrendered the rights of creating power to someone. You are a subject. Say for example, you are living in Saudi Arabia or Brunei, yeah, absolute monarch. Then over there, if the king decide certain things, obviously that is what we call a positivist approach. Law is law because the king has said so, right? So we're going to look into that argument. Then we are going to look at anthropological and historical schools. We look at the society, whether the law that we have in our society is from the anthropological perspective, yeah? From the nature of study of society, from the historical point of view, is it valid or not? Yeah, does every law that we have needs to have some kind of foundation or validity in order for it to be valid? Yeah, for example, we have adat Tepate, adat Temenggung, we have Islamic law, we have adat law. Whether all these are considered as a valid law just because the society have already accepted it. Okay, if we don't have things that is translated into law, whether that particular rules or regulation or law is considered as valid. So we are going to look into it. So that is the three major area that we are going to look at in this course. So here the course promotes the development of critical thinking. As I said, you are to like disagree with me, this is okay. That if you are able to disagree, then you have managed to understand. Yeah, because some of the students, they just followers. Followers is not good. Yeah, followers, because we are the one that is leading the society. Because we know what is law, right? I think this is the only course that teach you how to manage, yeah, manage the country, manage power, because law is about power. Uh, Other courses, they just learn about the individual art. Yeah, our art is how to control power. Okay, that seems to, if someone were to ask what is law, law is about the ability to control power. Uh, okay, Lord Atkin did mention about abuse of power, right? So apa dia cakap? Power?
Absolute power
Power.
corrupts, absolutely.
Yes, Iman. Power corrupts. By nature, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts everything. So, law is about controlling that power, because you are going to be in a position that you are given power. Be it in the next 5 years, you are a lawyer, you might be a person with the private sector, the head of the department or unit, right? You might be with the public sector, in one of the government departments. You are given subsidiary powers to you, and then if you are the politician, yeah, later on, you might be involved in politics. Then power is given to you. If you are the judge, obviously power is given to you. All these powers is we need to control these powers, okay? And the powers that is given to everyone else, in order for them to do anything, is actually have to be regulated. Yeah, you have to regulate every act that actually in our society. For example, if we want to eat, there is law in relation to the fact of eating, or drinking, eating, breathing. You want to go to pass your you want to pass urine, or you want to go to the big and small thing, right? So everything got law. Yeah, everything is regulated. Actually, if you might, kalau you tengok, you kata, betul ke, if I want to breathe, there is no law that regulate that. I'm free to do that. Even if you say that I'm free to breathe, is a natural justice. Nobody is to come to your act of breathing to hinder that. If they were to hinder that, obviously there is a law which we call it what? Anyone who hinders you from breathing. You say that my statement was, law is in everything. The fact that you want to breathe is considered as under the regulation of law. Law is in existence with the act of breathing. So how do I justify that? Can you understand the relationship of breathing? Yeah.
No, sir. Could you clarify further? I don't understand the question.
We kind of
Okay.
lost.
My statement is that no matter whatever, anyone who do anything, who does anything or whatever, the activities that they are doing must have law. Okay, you must have law. There is a law in relation to the activity that one person is doing. Okay, no matter what. If you can you go and pass urine to anywhere that you like? Can you do that? Can you do your private things in public?
No.
If
No.
it's permissible, If it is permissible. Yes,
Dekat India
possible.
mungkin boleh lah kan. Dekat India mungkin boleh ke. Tapi but still it is considered as wrong. Okay, prostitution is considered as it depends on the society, it depends on the government itself. For Singapore, prostitution is allowed. Yeah, prostitution surprisingly dekat Singapore. But Thailand, no, it is an offence for you to do prostitution. Nampak terbalik because Thailand is like well known for
Center of prostitution.
people who wants to do all these negative things will go to Thailand and they are in heaven. But when I went to Singapore, I start to realize that they also have, but they are to be discreet. They are not to go on the public spaces to offer their services. Right.
Like the law profession, is it, sir?
Law profession, macam mana Iman?
We can't advertise our profession and all, so macam tu lah.
Yes. Why? The jurisprudence is about asking about why can't we do that? Okay, the law says no, fine, but why? So you have to ask question. Yeah? As lawyers, as legal thinkers, we are all legal thinkers, right? Because that is the art. Okay. By the end of the day, people will come to see you and say, I have a problem and can you give me a solution, a legal solution? So you are thinkers. Okay. So coming back, my statement is that in any activities of human being, if they were to do anything, there is a law with regards to that. I don't know, you can prove me wrong. But if I take one example of breathing, you want to breathe, that is the act. The substance will be, the substance of breathing will be the air. So you can breathe the air. So it is a freedom of you to do so, right? That is your fundamental rights. That is governed under what? You dah belajar dah?
Fundamental liberty.
Consti, Federal Constitution.
Yes. Which article?
Article 5.
Right to?
Right to live.
Right to life. Okay. Because nobody is to prevent you from breathing the air, right? And if they were to do certain thing with respect to the quality of the air, obviously that you have learned so far a law that is able for you to initiate, to take action against those people. What are the laws? Have you done environmental law?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Environmental law is a law that protects the air quality, the air quality that you are supposed to get as a human being, because that particular environmental law is in line with the right that is stated in our federal constitution, right to life. Okay, you are able to live, and in order for you to live is for you to be able to eat, for you to breathe, for you to do certain things, right? So there would be definitely law for that. You cannot run from it, right? So we have thoughts. You have learned thoughts. Thoughts tu. Apa dia yang you dah belajar dekat thoughts tu?
Defamation.
Defamation, vicarious liability.
Something got to do with the air. Nuisance, yeah.
Trespass.
Okay, good. Trespass, yeah. So trespass, is it trespass?
Trespass, thoughts one tak silap.
Thoughts one, how do you relate to breathing then? Macam mana agak-agak? Trespass ada 3 kan? Trespass to goods, trespass to person, trespass to property. So out of these 3, dekat mana yang relate to breathing?
Person.
Trespass to person. Assault ke
Yes.
battery? Battery better kan? Tapi assault pun boleh juga, because you are assaulting someone and you are to create a fear towards that person, a fear condition towards that person, Fearing is the not if you go on the medical perspective, is the inability for the person to breathe well, yeah, because you are in fear. So it does affect with your psychosis ataupun your mental, yeah, a mental order. So during World War II, the test that they were conducting, conducted against the Jews, comprises of all sort of tests, yeah. And the test, one of it is to take out the air and to look at the condition of air, how long that person can live, because to them they want to kill these subjects, right? So rather than killing these people, take them as a subject for them to understand the human nature. Memang jahat lah, dia bukan setakat bunuh, dia torture, in order for them, in the name of science. But coming back, if you look at any activities, you try to think of any activities that does not have law. So if you can have something that you say, no, I don't think there is a law with respect to that particular activity, therefore I'm wrong, prove me, right? But so far, it is something that we have to understand. Okay, we understand because law is everything. Okay, so let's have the bird's eye view in terms of the syllabus. One is topic 1. We are going to look at basic presumption of law. Here we're looking at the definition of law general. So various definition of law. Then this is just a bird's eye view of all the position. I think I've already mentioned that. Then what is natural law, what is positivism, what is anthropological and historical school, because that is the core. Okay. We will do something of a nature that goes in detail a bit about that. Next is looking at the each one of them. We're looking at natural law in detail. So we're looking at the Greeks, Roman, Christians, Islam, because Islam, we do have a topic 3 for Islam. And then we have the modern writers. We have current jurists about their opinion with respect to natural law. Then we have giants, jurists between hard and fuller debate. How they argue about the existence of natural law. This hard fuller debate is in relation to the genocide that has occurred by the Germans towards the Jews. And then the obligation, why do we have to obey the law? If we don't want to obey the law, what is going to happen? Things like that. And then third topic is about Islam and compare with Western jurisprudence in order for us to understand both perspectives. For Islam, it is basically simple. It is going to be only Al-Quran and Hadith, right? That is two major source of our Islamic rules, Islamic jurisprudence. But when it comes to Western jurisprudence, they are basing on the ideas of people, or jurists. So they don't have one central document that they can refer to, because every one of them have different opinion about what is law. Okay, so we're going to look at that to compare and contrast. Then we look into positivism. As I said, in detail, each topic that we're going to look later is going to be very specific and very narrow in terms of answering under or gathering our understanding of that particular area. Positivism is about, as I already stated to you earlier on, it's about law is law, and we will look at the person of John Austin, H.L.A. Hart. We look at Kelsen in order for us to understand their opinion of what is positivism. Okay, and then we move on to topic 5. We're looking at the historical and anthropological schools. We have Civicny, yeah, we have Maine, and then several others that I will introduce, and for us to understand. History means some of them say all the laws that we have is actually must be established by virtue of history, yeah, or custom. If the law is not basing itself under the pretext of custom, then the law is not going to be followed or adhered to, because nobody can force us to do something without us to be able to accept the law. Acceptance means that from historical, from the society makeup that we have, is something of a nature that we accept the law. If the government forces a law towards us, obviously we are going to reject that law. For example, if PAS, yeah, somehow managed to take over the government or the ruling of Malaysia, right, by virtue of you know by virtue of coup, yeah, whether their act of saying that every woman in Malaysia is to wear the hijab, yeah, or the what do you call it, Zoro. So is it something something that they can do? Yeah, they can. Is it allowed for them to force onto us a rule that against our nature, against our religion, against our custom? You know, is it possible? Is it uh, is it something that is able to be materialized? Yeah. So yes, they can create law with regards to that. However, it is just a matter of time whether the people will start to revolt. Yeah. So in other words, this group of jury says whatever laws that we have or we have right now is actually something that we accepted, yeah, by nature of history. So one good example would be Malaysia. We practice common law, right? Common law process. We do not apply civil law. Why? Because we are being colonized by British. If we were being colonized by the Dutch, you know, obviously now we have the different concept, which is civil law, like what Indonesia is having. So dia kita adversarial, they are inquisitorial. Why the differences? Because history. Yeah, the people who conquer us. Yeah, when we are being conquered, obviously we adopt and adapt the nature of the law of that country. Right. So they say that this is the historical and anthropological schools nature of looking at the law. And then questions that we want to ask about whether the law should enforce morality or not. If we want to do something, in something that crossed my mind right now is the Saudi Arabia, forcing people to wear the burqa. I don't know what is it, what they call it, the hijab and things like that, right? So how is it? Is it something that is moral? Okay, kissing in public, is it moral? Okay, law against kissing in public, law against certain things, right? That you can evaluate. Yeah, mercy killing. Those are some areas that we have to question whether that particular act, or that particular law that regulates that particular activities is considered as moral or not. Okay, so if you look at Malaysia, obviously, you know, you want to do things, obviously it is governed by the law. For example, macam mana, we cannot, as Malaysians or people who come to Malaysia, want to go to the beach naked, right? Obviously, you can't do that. Some quarters, some years ago, did try to do that. Mukahid, kalau you tengok those people yang dah biasa pergi dekat Penang, there's one beach that is facing Selat Melaka. it's very difficult for you to access it, but other than you have to hike for 1 hour or take the boat, you know, in order for you to access that beach. So normally the beach is empty, you know, but some quarters of our people, citizen, they want to feel free, and then they want to you know, swim naked. So is it allowed for them to do though? Is it moral? You know, it seems that in other countries, it can, people, you can do that. Okay, certain things that is found to be immoral in Malaysia is considered as moral in other countries. So we are going to look at that issue of morality, and for that we look at the jurisdiction that we have Dublin here, we have Mills, we have Hart, we have Islam and other juries. Okay, so that is the area that we are going to look at. We have only 6 areas. We have like 14 weeks in order for us to cover. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Right. Yeah, the one. This is more of an interest to you, right? Continuous assessment. You have 60% continuous assessment. We have assignment. Yeah, assignment of 20. We have 3 assignments. Yeah, so we have 3 assignment, 20 each. So it carries group assignment, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, group assignment. So for group, I think I will give you the direction, in terms of how many members in a group that you have to establish. I think minimum of 3 kot, maximum of 5. Tapi the maximum of 5, don't take me my word for that, because Cik Nazim has to decide what would be the number of per group. I will wait for the question, and the question will be passed. Any week 11, any week 1, one of the assignment is going to be passed soon, but I will have to check with him when is the release date, because we have 5 group. We want every opportunity for every members of each group to be able to be, what do you call it, assessed, properly, because otherwise it's not fair. We have 5 group, and then some of the group get more time for them to complete. So that is assignments. By nature is going to be concentrating on certain topics. Yeah, assignment on Splunction Explorers and Unjust Law. You can Google Splunction Explorers. This is a fictitious case being created by a jurist. Yeah, but many authors has add in. So you have to see this in order for you to understand. This is a fictitious case with regards to those people who are marooned in the earth. Yeah, so they were the cave, cave in, and they were just like the one in Thailand. Yeah, the kids, they were in the cave for what, I think 1 week. How do they survive? Because you cannot survive without water, but you can survive without eating for a number of days. So luckily it does not go to that extent, but this is just a situation, a fictitious situation given, and you might be asked of that particular area. Second is the assignment with regards to positivism and natural law is compare and contrast. Okay, so there is one issue that is going to be given to you, and from that issue you are to give your opinion by virtue of the what do you call it, positivism and natural law. Third one will be the subject of obedience towards unjust law or immoral laws from the standard of the society. So how are you going to respond to it? By looking at the heartful debate. Okay, so those are the continuous assessment that is going to be asked of you. Then the final will be 40 marks, comprises of 2 questions. Yeah, it comprised of 2 questions. Then the topic is open, open book. So obviously open book, right? That is the assessment. Any question on the assessment?
No, so far.
Okay.
No, sir.
So far, okay. All right. So recommended text, Lloyd's. This one, I don't know whether you can get a copy or not. I try to get it the PDF form if there is any. If it's not, then I think it's quite costly for you to buy a few hundred. Ridal also. I do have books that I can share with you. I will pass it over to you later. Yeah, might not be this one, but to me, any knowledge or from any books pertaining to that particular subject is acceptable. Though Freeman and Riddle is very concentrated and very I would say taxing lah for you to be introduced to these people. Obviously you akan baca 5 kali baru you faham quote sikit, I don't want that to be the situation. Our aim is to understand, right? So understanding can come from any writers, or any materials online. Okay, there's millions of what they call it, resources online that you can go through. Website, that you can that is specifically discussing about jurisprudence, and it's just a matter of you googling it up, right? So if you want PDF, you just type in PDF towards the end of your query, then obviously all the PDF documents will come out. Okay, so I think that's it. We have other references, then you can copy this, but the references was not stated, so you just copy. I don't know whether I copy, and then you go somewhere, then paste it, and all right, this is one of the website that you can utilize in order for you to understand. Right, okay. Kalau macam tu, I kata PDF je lah. So I don't know whether it is there or not. Okay. This is one of the writers talking about, this is a slide, tak apa. So be resourceful. Look at online materials. You can look at our library if you want to get the documents, online. Right. Thing that is for the syllabus. I have this one that here that I can share with you. Some definition and questions in jurisprudence. I will pass it over to you. This is from Harvard Law Review. Okay, so far, boleh? So we have covered who I am, and then we also covered about the subject that we are going to go through, right? And okay, question so far? Tak ada apa? 1 hour and 20 minutes already.
Sir,
Yes,
will you
Aida.
be teaching us for tutorial?
Yeah, if you look at this, this is my timetable.
Sir,
Yeah.
we cannot
So-
see the screen.
Oh, you cannot see the screen. Okay.
Yes.
Entire screen. Masya Allah, all this while memang you tak nampak screen
Memang tak.
Tak, sir.
You all cakap lah.
Sorry,
Lain
sir.
kali.
Tak, sebab tadi refer yang the course outline tu macam okay.
Okay, all this while you have been looking at my face and without the ability to see what I'm showing you. Masya Allah. Sekejap, Okay. Sorry about that. Just yeah, this is one paper. Okay, this is what I said about you know, slide just now. So you have to go online and just type in right. So this is another Harvard Law Review. I'm going to share everything with you. Don't worry. Takut tak boleh nak baca je lah. Tak ada masa nak baca. Okay. But for the time being, with regards to the definition and understanding about jurisprudence, I think this might be one of the what they call it, materials that is fruitful for your knowledge. When I say that this might be a good paper, doesn't mean that this is the only paper that you can refer to. Right? You can obviously go online. You know, so many resources about jurisprudence out there. So just have someone of the jurists that you want to understand. Like for example, this one basic lah. Yeah, you want to ask the question about what is jurisprudence and things like that. You just go online and Google it, and you will get resources to show you or to tell you, to inform you about the meaning and understanding of jurisprudence. Basically, yeah, about jurisprudence. Then, if you want to go into detail, then you take one of the jurists of your choice of inquiry. Then you go online and investigate. You can wiki it first, and then you can later go into that with regards to apa yang dia cakap, what is his idea. Because the thing is to, as I said, we are to leave our belief, outside the door. But the most important thing upon us getting knowledge is for us to know that particular person. Once we know that person, and then you are able to know what is inside his mind. Or for jurist, feminist, nanti kita belajar jurist too, right? But for the time being, we are going to concentrate on those people. You look at that person. If you look at Austin, if you look at that Plato, if you look at who else, so many of them had, say for example, right? So you have to look at that individual, understand who they are and why they have come up with this idea of interpreting the law. Okay, so understanding the person, okay, which is not important in the exam, obviously, right? But for our knowledge wise, for our knowledge purposes, we have to understand that person first. Then we have to look at the situation when that person was born, and under what condition of life that he or she has gone through, in order for us to understand why do they interpret the law in such a way. Okay, so once we understand that person, then we will be able to understand better the thinking of that person. Because the main aim of the course is to understand the thinking of that person. And once you know the thinking of that person, you are able to synchronize with the legal issues that we have in the world right now. And then on top of that, if you have any problems that you are to likely ask to solve, later on you are going to be exposed to that. You have various opportunity or various resources for you to choose in order for you to make your decision. Okay, no, as I already mentioned to you, no jurist is right, nor they are wrong. Okay, they are right, but they don't have the absolute answer, right? So they just giving from their perspective. Okay, question? Ni dah jadi lecture, no? Sebab kita nak kena laju ke depan. Takut nanti kita delay. It's going to be apa? Nanti kita towards the end tu nak jadi macam kelang kelibut lah. Questions?
Sir,
Yes.
where
Aida.
can we get lecture slides?
Lecture slide I akan bagi. Yeah, this is lecture slide. Semua I akan bagi. Right? I'm supposed to go through with you today this one. Kalau boleh kita start no? Lagi half an hour. Boleh tak? Ini bukan
Boleh.
tak boleh,
Boleh je, sir.
Okay. So I will give you books. I will give you articles. Obviously, kalau you dapat the what they call it lesson plan, every topic is ada link, hyperlink. You just click the hyperlink. Cik Nazim dah buat dah. Benda it's just a matter of you to. So books, material in terms of articles, and then slides, and then videos. Now the videos that I'm recording right now, I will be putting it under my YouTube channel, restricted use. Then you can access that. Yeah, I will give you the link. Apa lagi? Semua. Okay, just read and question the article or materials that you are learning. Then inshallah you are able to get it better. Boleh?
Boleh, sir.
Boleh, sir.
Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kita masuk sana. Jurisprudence. You might be saying, ya Allah, ingat ke introduction half an hour je, ni dah jam setengah dah. Okay, jurisprudence, if you look at this is just an introduction. What is jurisprudence? So it is about the word itself, yeah, from the Latin word. Juris is the right of or the law, yeah. Prudence, as you know, English prudence is whereby you are able to understand, yeah. The ability to govern and discipline oneself is the use of reason. Yeah, prudence is using your mind, yeah, thinking. Yeah. So by definition, theory or philosophy of law. Okay. So philosophy is what? Philosophy is the art of thinking. Yeah. Philo is thinking. Yeah. Philosophy, Sophia, love of thinking. So people who are philosophers, they love to think, and in order for them to think about issues that we have in our society today, and with that they come with their own solution, yeah, or theories. So we are going to look at the theories from the jurists. Yeah, jurisprudence is therefore the legal philosopher's opinion. Okay, so legal philosophers or jurists, legal philosophers, they ponder about the law. So when they think about the law, you might want to have a solution, right? Because you tak nak fikir on something without a solution. I hate that when it comes to forcing to think about something and there is no solution. Okay, you have to come up with a solution. Some people, they just want to utter problems. They just want to present problem, but there is no solution. It is a good practice for you to have whenever you are practicing later on, for you to give solution to your boss rather than giving to the boss a problem. Okay, never do that, because whenever you pass a problem, you might you are supposed to also give an alternative answers to or solution to that particular problem. Okay, jangan pergi bising ke orang, I ada problem ni. Jangan bagi masalah ke orang, ya. Masalah you bagi dekat orang dengan solution. Okay, potential solution. Look at legal philosophy of how the law works, yeah, as I already mentioned earlier, and why it is important. Kenapa kalau tak ada undang-undang tak boleh ke? You know, if we don't have law, can we just survive? That is the question that is raised under jurisprudence. So philosophy, under the group of philosophy, one branch is the legal philosophy. So the task of looking at these people, the group of people, they did not declare themselves under those group. Okay, so I am a positivist, I am naturalist. No, they are not. They don't declare themselves as that. But we group them together in order for us to understand. This group of people, basically, they have this kind of understanding. Yeah, they are similar to each other, but they are not the same. So under a naturalist, we have many jurists or philosophers that you know, generally they are there. They are the same, But if we look individually, then they are going to be different. Okay, so we look at the schools, of naturalists, positivists, liberalists, moralists, historicalists, Islamic, and we look at each one of them. One picture here. Do you have any opinion of this picture? By the way, you nampak tak apa?
Nampak, saya nampak.
Right.
Nampak, sir.
You nampak this girl smoking. Now, what is your impression of this?
Unhealthy.
Macam mana?
Unhealthy impression.
Macam mana tak dengar?
Depression.
Anxiety.
Unhealthy.
Unhealthy, sir.
Unhealthy. Okay, unhealthy. Right. Okay. Unhealthy. Others?
Maybe because it's a woman, so it would be somehow different. Like people would see it differently.
Yeah, prejudice kan?
Uh,
So you might have your Islamic understanding or your upbringing, to see this and try to give your opinion. So we have this situation. Maybe she is under pressure to release her mental torture. That is the only way. You have to have a mode of release, your stress. This might be the way she is saving her life rather than committing suicide, right? I don't know. Okay, because some would see it as, oh, this lady, she's killing herself, and the fact that if she is pregnant right now, maybe she's young, but maybe she's also pregnant, she is actually hurting the child punya, the health, and then some people will say, apa masalah, this is her, it is her body, she wants to do whatever she wants, it is up to her to do it, so one particular issue, one particular problem have variance of interpretation. Okay, the same with when you look at jurisprudence, you have a problem. Is the law right in terms of preventing her from smoking and not towards the male, or is it the law valid in order for the law to impose certain restriction? Those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. Okay, we are not to blindly accept whatever laws that has been created by other people, either from your parents, either from the religion, either from the institution, either from the from our federal constitution, whatever laws that has been created to restrict our activities, you have to question it. And it might be, kalau some Islamic perspective, we are learning something that is haram, that is against religion. So silap hari bulan boleh jatuh murtad. Okay, so at times you might be saying that Cik Haris dah jadi murtad dah, dia cakap macam tu, they have to question everything. Once we question everything, then only our understanding would be able to justify. Okay, without us being able to think, kita akan jadi macam parrot. You just repeat whatever people are saying. You go into consti class, you go into criminal class, you enter into thoughts class, you just learn the principle and try to apply without the ability to question. Kenapa kena buat macam tu? Is it proper? Is it something that's the only solution? Why not another solution? Is there any other solution out there that we can refer to? Solution might be many. So doesn't mean one picture describe everything. Okay, it can for those yang ada some kind of interpretation of this picture, you have to understand that there are others that might look it differently from you. So it is something for us to look at. What about mercy killing then? Is it legal or not? If it's legal, why? If it's not legal, why? Okay. If we cannot just simply say that, oh, mercy killing is not allowed in our country. So why? You know, why is like that? Understanding is more better than us to just follow. Okay, kita ni kebanyakannya followers of our own religion. So for those yang Christian dalam kelas, for us yang Islam, you know, why, you know, why do we follow that religion? Just because that religion says certain things that you have to do. Why do you have to do it? You know, you have to start question. Understanding of why you are doing it then makes you a better Muslim. So if you look at Muslim, that is for those who converted into other religion, for those kalau kita tengok new Muslims, new Muslim, they are actually much better in faith, in the understanding of the religion, because they understand the religion before they convert. So we are those people who are being born under that religion. We don't understand that religion itself because we don't study, we don't question, we don't. When people say, "Oh, tak boleh buat ni, tak boleh buat tu," you want to, you just accept. Yeah, you cannot do that. We have to question the authority. Whether they are, you have to listen to me. I'm the authority. I'm the person. I'm the ulama. I'm the no. We are going to die, we are going to answer God, and our account is going to be our account. We are not answerable to other people's account. Okay, so if you were to answer to our account, we cannot simply say that, oh, that ulama said that I am supposed to do this. I have to kill people of other races or other religion in order for me to go to heaven. Okay, that is what happening in the world, right? We think that we are the best religion, either Christianity or Islam. Okay, so you belittle other religion. Okay, you have that the what they call it, the arrogance, that you have in us. So why arrogance is there? Because we take it for granted, without proper understanding. So why mercy killing is wrong? That is the question that we have to look at. This is one idea. Some people say, dia nak mati dah, kesian kan? I mean, just mati je lah, ya. No, it doesn't work like that. There must be a reason. Yeah. Here, mass murder. Myanmar coup, the junta, the army took over the government. Right. Now they are starting to kill their own, what they call it, citizens. Do they have any rights to do that? Okay, so what is the situation with regards to people who took over countries and then say that we are the valid one? We have the right to create a law to impose you curfew, impose you under emergency, and if you don't do certain things that we ask you to do, therefore we are going to punish you. So we have to question, who are you? Is it valid for you to be there? Okay, so we have to look around, because we are the one that is going to be the last hope of the society, because people of knowledge of legal would be the one that is able to save the day, or destroy the day lah. Because lawyers are abusers of law, because once we know the law, we tend to abuse the law, right? Because we know the arts of the law itself. But basically, the society don't have any knowledge of law. When they do not have any knowledge of law, they have to come to us in order for us to assist them to look at that particular law, whether that particular act of anyone is valid or not, whether something of a nature that we can go against or not. Okay, because every one of us want to get the truth. Obviously, the truth is about justice. Now, justice itself can be defined in many ways. Whatever it is, jurisprudence is about trying to question situation that is happening throughout the world. Why that thing is happening? What was the legal basis? Because remember, I said law is everywhere in every activity. Okay, so if you look at this particular picture, whether that particular person or the group of people behind him is able to do whatever that they are doing, is it justified for them to go against the government? We are not looking at the law. We are looking at the basis of the law itself. And we have to question. Okay. So you learn about so far about objectivity. Objectivity means that the purpose of each area of law. You learn land law, you learn criminal law, you learn tort, you learn equity. All those are objective. Okay? What is the purpose of those areas? Okay, from Asasi you have learned a lot, right? And then if you go into detail about this particular area of law that you have studied before, it is more of a substance, either a substance or procedural. Okay, substance means law of substance. Criminal law, it is law of substance rather than procedural. You cannot do this, you can do this, land law, it is more towards a substance. And then on top of that, land law also procedure in order for you to alienate your land. Obviously, certain documents have to take into consideration, forms, scan, and things like that. Procedures has to be followed. Tort, it is a law of substance. Yeah, what is the substance? It is rather than procedural. Consti, it is more of substance rather than procedural. What else?
Equity, trust.
Equity, trust, substance. Yeah, it's not about procedural. So all this while, the subject is being presented either in the form of substance or procedural. So kalau CPC, I don't know whether you have done CPC or not. It is about procedural. Basically, form apa, dekat mana, bila, and things like that. All these are about procedure. So you learn either two of this. So, but do you question everything? That is the question. Kita just minta lan je. We just accept je. Whatever the lecturer, whatever the law says, word for word, kita take it. You abide to it. Otherwise, benda tu, it will be a problem, right? So you in class earlier on tak pernah, I don't know whether you are allowed to do that. In our paper, you are about exploring. It is about questioning everything. Okay, we are to discover. Macam ni rupanya. Okay, some example. Okay, thoughts dekat mana? Example of jurisprudence dalam thought. Thoughts is about cases, right? It is about substance. Betul tak? Agree? Thoughts is about substance. In the substance, we are looking at not procedural, meaning we don't look at the act. We don't have any act. Yalah, Defamation Act ada. Tapi but purely act of akta for thought tak ada. Not like UK, right? Under the law of thought, we talk about cases, right? As our authority, as our law. So the law of thought is about cases. Now, can you look at a case with regards to thought that reflects jurisprudence? I don't know whether I should be doing this or not, asking you question. Now, I bagi jawapan tu sebenarnya. In the law of thoughts, you are being introduced to, you have been introduced actually, dah habis kan semua thought ni. You have been introduced to case of Donoghue and Stevenson. Okay, semua orang yang buat thought semua akan faham what is Donoghue and Stevenson. What is the jurisprudence of Donoghue and Stevenson? You know the case, you know the test, neighbor principle.
That's true. Is it a duty of care? Like someone has to take care of other person. So like that is the foundation of the law, which is we cannot unnecessarily harm anyone. So is that the jurisprudence of it?
Yes, but deeper than that. Duty of care, Atkin.
Is it the answer? Is it duty of care based on our neighbor? Like we need to take care of our neighbor regardless of the injury?
Yes, very good. Cumanya, dia tengok if you looking at the neighbor, we are looking at the thought, how to arrive to proximity and forcibility, betul tak? Because you have learned that duty of care is about proximity and possibility. But where does this duty come from? You say that it is coming from duty as a neighbor, but where does the law says that you are to owe certain duty towards your neighbor? Nampak tak? The rule that you are to love your neighbor becomes in law. Okay? The rule that you are to love your neighbor. Mana datang the rule? Which rule we are talking about? Perasan tak? All this while, you learn this caption, right? That is being stated by Lord Hakim before he came out with that neighbor principle. But he started with the statement, the rule that you are to love your neighbor.
His own logical reasoning, sir.
His own logical reasoning. If you come up with a certain logical reasoning, there must be foundation of that logical reasoning. If the logical reasoning is not something that is universal, that is not able to be accepted by people, people will definitely reject your idea. But he is saying something that is already established. Okay, the rule that you are to love your neighbor. Where do you see all this? Kalau you ambil ni, the rule that you are to love your neighbor. Love your neighbor is where do you get this idea of loving your neighbor?
I believe it was the Bible, right, sir?
Very good, very good. Nampak tak? He took the idea of loving your neighbor from the Bible in order for him to utilize this concept or the principle of religion over your neighbor into the problem of a legal case that he is handling. Nampak tak how intelligent it is? Trying to bring something that is already established in religion, which is love your neighbor, right? And bringing it into the court and becomes in law. Nampak tak? Becomes in law. Because in religion, nampak tak? Dia tak kata religion tapi becomes in law, meaning he is referring to something else. Because in religion, you are to love your neighbor. But in law, it must not to injure. Bukan yang setakat love. Love is bigger, right? But here under law is more focused towards not injuring your neighbor. Boleh nampak kan tu? Beza kan? So the bigger, before he went to the internal, which is not to injure your neighbor, and he defined what is neighbor, right? But he first established the overall concept, which is love your neighbor. And this love of your neighbor comes from religion. And if you look from the perspective of religion, is in relation to most of the religion in the world, i.e. Most of the people understanding of what your duty as a person needs to be done when you are living in a society. Okay, so if you're living in a society, if you believe in religion, and if you don't believe your religion, but you do have that the ability for you to concern about your neighbor, you are a good neighbor. Yeah, you are a good person. So loving your neighbor comes from what we call religion, which is equivalent to natural law. Yeah. So natural law promotes idea that is universal in nature. Okay. So this idea, Lord Akin, he took the natural law perspective, which is what natural law dia besar. One of the natural law would be religion. He took part of the natural law, which is religion, and took it inside his case, and he wants to introduce another principle which is in line with that. Okay, you dalam religion you ought to love your neighbor. Dalam Islam, who is our neighbor? Do we promote? We are Abrahamic religion, yeah, Christianity, Jews, and Islam. We have the same standards. Okay, the same standard says that we are to love our neighbor. Dalam Islam, siapa neighbor kita?
Our family members.
Pardon?
Our family members.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
brothers or sisters in Islam. Is it?
Siapa? Okay, good. Lagi. Kita ada 10 minit lagi, sorry. Just to introduce, nanti kita sambung lah. Siapa lagi? Who is our neighbor? Dalam Islam. You see, kalau you tak dapat jawapan, then our understanding of Islam is missing lah. Not to say that I know, because I have checked and then I learned about who is neighbor dalam Islam. Neighbor definition in Islam ada 40 kiri, 40 kanan, 40 depan, 40 belakang. Sekarang 40 atas, 40 bawah. 40 family, 40 rumah. Sebelah kiri, sebelah kanan, depan, belakang, atas, bawah. Kalau kita are living in a condo or apartment. Can you imagine that? Those are under Islamic interpretation of neighbors. You are not, we are all going to be answerable. I'm going to be answerable because I know who are my neighbors, but I don't care about them. Because we are living in the environment yang kita don't care about other people. Okay, whether they are in trouble, whether they have money or food to eat, you know, obviously we are not the solution, but helping hand, 5 ringgit, 10 ringgit, you know, helping your. This is what happened in Jewish community, because they help each other. They are so strong in helping each other that they become so united, and they become so filthy rich lah, because money circulate into their society, and money does not go out. They get money from outside, and then the money will circulate among themselves. So every one of the community being enriched. Macam kita tak juga, kita dapat duit, kita tak kisah, kita tak racist lah, in a way. We are not racist. We don't buy only Muslim, right? We go to shop without thinking of who is the owner, in order for us to help our fellow race, member of the race. We don't do that because we look ourselves as Malaysian. But some quarters in our society wants to promote certain buy Muslim first or buy Bumi Putra first and things like that. Yeah, okay, you can do whatever you want lah. But that promotes differences, which is not our teaching. Yeah, Islamic teaching is not about dividing people and saying that this is mine, this is yours, and things like that. So that is the problem with the Jews. Now coming back, sorry, I'm a few more minutes. Coming back, this is one example to show you that this particular judge, he is taking jurisprudential perspective in order for that thinking to be applied in the case, in order for the case to have a solution. And that particular case has become a benchmark throughout the world, yeah, until today. Okay, duty of care is something that is everywhere. Okay, whenever you drink any product that you purchase or anything that you purchase, there is a duty of care implemented. You're sitting right now on the chair, you know, the computer that you are looking at, they are the manufacturers are supposed to have that duty of care towards you, because you are the person who is the end users. You utilize the product, they are responsible for anything that happens to you, yeah, any defects of the product. So this rule in 1932, yeah, becomes the benchmark of all cases when it comes to duty of care. Okay, it branch out lah, dia besar lah over time. Okay, so this is just one example looking at jurisprudence, looking at one case, one area of law which is taught. Sama dengan kalau kita tengok land law, any case that with regards to land law, you ambil Sri Lempah. Okay, I have a case by mana dia? Hilang lah. Ni ya, Azlan Shah punya ruling ya, when it comes to Sri Lempah. Okay, so read this and then you discover dalam his what do you call it, judgment ada jurisprudence. Yeah, he is he's looking at the jurisprudential punya perspective, because bottom line, kalau you dah sampai kat federal court, it's no longer about what is right, what is wrong. We have to apply what is right, what is wrong from the perspective of jurisprudence. Yeah. So kalau you baca, I want you to read this. I would also pass this as one exercise, mini exercise for you to be able to highlight dekat mana yang macam dekat Act ni, the rule that you are to love your neighbor. This is a natural justice ataupun something that is from the religion punya perspective. Sama dengan kalau kita tengok dengan the Azlan Shah punya decision. Highlight to me where is the one that he refers to some idea that is outside, outside the scope of law. Okay, so the same thing with criminal law, custody law, contract law. I want you to be able to bring me a case or a situation of a case where it talks about the principle of something higher as compared to the question of law. Kalau Sri Lempah, it is about the question of whether the authorities can do whatever they want, okay, whether they are going ultra-virus or not. So this is just an exercise for you to recap whatever you have learned for us to come back and discuss it in the next class. So with that, thank you so much for the 2 hours. I'm sorry that you might expect that it's just half an hour punya interaction. I think we jump terus lah dengan kita punya syllabus ya. So thank you so much for coming. Sign in if you have not yet done that. Take care and enjoy your week, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys. Just semua orang kena keluar lah supaya I can end the recording.
Right, thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yeah, Iman.
do you remember me?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Iman, how are you?
I'm good. You interviewed me
Good.
and Dania during the degree intake in 2018.
Wow, were you the one that I asked about Shia and Sunni?
Yes, you did.
Ah,
You did ask me
No,
about that. And you also asked me about Terengganu, something like about Terengganu. I forgot about it.
yeah, okay. Oh, you are not Iman, you are just Rizal. Right?
Yes.
Yes, Rizal. Okay, good. Nice to see you again, Jas.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Alright, thank you.
You answered me. I did not expect you to answer that, and you managed to answer it very well. So that is why you are here.
Maybe it's from Allah saying that we're going to meet together.
Benar. I'm just apa orang kata? I'm just a tools being used by Allah. I mean, definitely, I'm just a tools, right?
Yeah.
It is not my decision, but it's Allah's decision. Good.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Looking forward for this semester with you, sir.
Yes.
Alright, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Jazra. Assalamualaikum.